Another very common task that you need to do in a live broadcast situation is to create a mix minus or an N-1. So in our show here we have a guest phoning in from New York and also a guest phoning in from Tokyo and a presenter in the studio. While they're off air, we'd like them to be able to talk to each other, and we'd like to create an N-1 feed so that they can hear the other guests but not themselves. So we're going to use an aux bus to do that. The Lavo system uses aux buses, any of the 32 auxes. It can also use track buses to create N-1s if you are short of aux outputs. We're going to choose just 3 auxes which will feed the return feeds to each of these channels. So if we go up the channel fader strip and onto the channel display, you'll find that there's an N-1 area. If you touch in the N-1 field, you can assign which aux you want to use for the return feed to each of the mix minus channels. So here, I've now set up aux 1 will be the return to our guest in New York, aux 2 to Tokyo, and aux 3 is going back to the presenter in the studio. Once I've assigned the N-1 buses, you can then enable the conference system by turning on the conference buttons, which in our console here are enabled from the fader user buttons on the fader strip. Once you've enabled the conference system, if you look back up at the channel display, you will see that an automatic N-1 has been created for the returns to each feed. So for example, on the presenter's channel here, we can see that he is hearing New York and Tokyo, but not himself. If we want to be able to send other things onto the conference buses, then just use the conference buttons on other fader strips of the console. So for example, if we want the guests and the presenter to hear a little bit of music and playback, then just turn on the conference buttons and you'll see that they go to all 3 aux and destinations. Another feature we can use is, if it's not time yet for this particular part of the program, then we can enable the coordination buttons. You'll see that the aux assignments change automatically up here. The aux ends are now pre-fader so that the guests and the presenter can talk to each other while their channels are off air. As soon as I open a fader, for example, the presenter goes to air, it cancels the coordination pre-talk. Our telephone guests can still talk to each other. If I open one of their faders because they're now speaking, again, the coordination pre-talk mode cancels, and we have a normal mix minus situation with a little bit of music and a little bit of playback. If we want to adjust the level of the music, going back to our guests and presenter, then just select the music channel, come up to the aux sends area in the central control section and grab the individual aux send levels. So aux 1 is our send level going to New York, aux 2 our level of the music going to Tokyo, and aux 3 the level of the music to the presenter. If we want to adjust the overall level of the feed going to our guests and presenter, then it's the aux masters that we need to adjust. A good way of doing this is actually assigning the aux masters onto the alternate flip layer. So if I flipped to the layer which is not controlling anything at the moment, I'm going to bring aux 1, aux 2, aux 3 onto these faders. I can do that using the Access Assign panel, pressing aux 1, pin to access, and using our usual fader strip assignment method. So first last, press the first select button, the second select button, and press escape to cancel. Now on my 3 fader strips, I have immediate access to the level of my guests and my presenter. And if the presenter is too loud in his earpiece, I can simply press the flip button and adjust the master level.